It's the most wonderful time of the year. Ah! Hi everyone, Scott Player Pop Cult fan here, and Merry Christmas. The time has gone by so fast this year. It's Christmas, and I hope you are all having a great holiday. And today I want to review the last movie for this basically Christmas season today, and that will be Home Alone 2 Lost in New York, which came out 2 years later after the first film in 1992. And this movie is very enjoyable. I think it captures the heart of the first film the best compared to the other sequels. I have seen the other sequels, but in regards to which Home Alone movie after the first film that I consider the best, I definitely consider this one the best out of all the sequels. And there's something to be said about that, in which even though this movie it repeats a lot of the same story beats as the first film, where you get that whole bit at the beginning of the film with Kevin's older brother Buzz, and everyone treating Kevin kind of poorly in a sense, and then they go on vacation, and then it repeats a lot of the same story beats as the first film, which I do have to dock the movie a little bit for that, because it feels very similar to the first film in that sense. And the main draw of this movie, just like the first film, is the wet bandits, Marvin and Harry, and you enjoy them as villains. They're very funny, and you love their presence when they're on screen. And that's where the charm of these first two movies are, with these villains, and also of course the booby traps in the third act, and also because this movie is primarily in New York, you get a lot of that famous kind of locales and kind of big wide shots of the city in the film, and you gotta love New York for that, for a lot of movies that are filmed there. And I think it's bigger, the traps are bigger, and I think this movie has a lot of the same kind of heart as the first film does. There's this one character in this movie where she's a lot like that old guy in the first film, kind of like a replacement of that character in a way in this one. And I like where her story goes, although I think the old guy in the first film, I think his story is a little bit more relatable, and a little bit more something that you can relate to. And I just think that particular character in the first film is a little bit more complex and interesting compared to this woman with the pigeons in this film. But I think also a lot of the cast and crew returned from the first film. You get Chris Columbus directing this movie again, John Hughes as a producer, and of course John Williams returning as a composer for this film. And what else can you say about Macaulay Culkin as Kevin McAllister? You love him. He can be mischievous, and he can be just kind of like the smartest character in the film, basically, and you kind of like it that way, because it adds to the charm of the film. And the way he just creates these booby traps, at that age, you have this imagination, like a lot of kids do at that age, having this imagination, and also wanting to kind of enjoy yourself, basically, if you're living in a big family. And that can be hard to do when you're living in a big family. And I just think that there's a lot of scenarios where you get that imaginative, playful side of Kevin, and you can find the inner child within yourself watching these first two movies as an audience member, and I love these two movies for that. I know I didn't do a review of the first film on my channel, but I did talk about it in this Christmas list I did about a year or two ago here on my channel, and it's a classic. It really is. And this movie, Home Alone 2, Lost in New York, while I do enjoy it, the first film is still the best. It's kind of like the Terminator franchise, in which the first two movies are the best, and then the rest just kind of are kind of just not great, not great. But I enjoy this movie for what it is, and there's another aspect of the third act with the booby traps that I do want to address, because while because I rewatched these two movies back to back, like last night and this morning, to prepare for this video, and I laughed constantly with the booby traps in the first film. I laughed constantly. Like, these two movies are very enjoyable and very funny, and I think another thing I had to dog up for this movie about is there are elements of cartoonish nature with the booby traps in this film, and as a result of that, it just kind of detracts me a little bit from that part of the film, because there's like these moments where it's literally right out of a cartoon, with Marv and Harry, getting beaten up, and these kind of traps could like literally hurt you in real life and potentially kill you too. So it's like, and they're enduring so much pain too. So it's like, there's an unbelievable factor as a result of that, and it just kind of detracts me a little bit from this experience watching this film now as an adult. But it has some of the same charm as the first film. It has some of the same heart and humor of the first film, and I also like how, like, once Kevin is in New York and he is in that hotel, he's kind of living life, kind of using his dad's credit card and things like that to get in that sweet life experience in that really awesome hotel room. And there's some really funny bits there, especially with some of the hotel staff, and it's just really funny. And I did this shorts the other day reacting to Donald Trump's cameo in this film, and that's a lot of fun as well. And it's like, because before Donald Trump was a political person, he cameoed in movies and TV shows, this being one of them. And I just think that that's fascinating, but at the same time, like, for those of you that don't know, I'm a Democrat. I'm not a huge fan of Donald Trump. I will say that. So it's just kind of odd seeing Donald Trump cameo in a movie when I'm not a huge fan of his. But yeah, other than that though, this is a very enjoyable film. Not nearly as good as the first film, but still very, very solid. And it's kind of like a companion piece to the first film. Kind of like, if you've seen like the Halloween movies, like the first sequel to that is kind of like a companion piece to the original film. And like, there's other examples of that out there, with like a sequel of the first sequel to an original film feels like a continuation / companion piece to the first one. And definitely this one very much goes into that, and I really enjoy it. So this is a very solid film. If I had to give it a grade, I'd definitely give it an A-. There are a few characters in this movie that are just kind of there for comic relief, and especially some of the hotel staff members, especially with those characters, and it's very enjoyable. So yeah, I hope you're all having an amazing Christmas today. And if you're not into Christmas, if you're celebrating Hanukkah, I hope you guys have a great Hanukkah. So enjoy the holidays. I know I will be. I am seeing the Mufasa movie tonight with my family and with my whole family, and I'm really excited for that. And I'll definitely be doing my review for Mufasa tomorrow once I see it tonight with my family. So thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Have a great holiday. Peace.